Welcome to the Transum Podcast, a monthly roundup of the new features on the transum.org website, providing mathematical puzzles, games, learning activities, and the ever-popular mathematics lesson starter of the day. Here's your host, John Tranter.
Hello and welcome to podcast number 65 for the month of April 2020. And this podcast is designed to take your mind off the dreaded C word. So let's go straight into it. Well, it's April, and as I'm recording it, it's the 1st of April, April Fool's Day. And I'm just wondering if you've managed to catch out your pupils with today's lesson starter, which is an April Fool. Well, if you haven't seen it, go and look it up and let me know if you managed to catch your pupils out with that joke. But as is normal, we will start with a puzzle of this month. Here we go. Obadiah Sloop has 7 horses in his stable and enough feed to keep them for 12 days. After 3 days, he sells 4 of the horses. How long will the remaining feed last the horses that he still has in his stables? The answer will be at the end of this podcast, and of course you can rewind this podcast if you wanted to hear that puzzle again. While you think about that, I'm just going to rattle on through some of the key resources that have been added to the Transum website during the last month. And the links to everything I talk about in this podcast can be found in the newsletter. That's transum.org/newsletter. Okay, we'll start off with Dr. Tim's Indices Challenge. Haha. And this came from a Twitter post I spotted in which Dr. Tim Honeywell posted a set of indices questions that I took a liking to. They make a great supplementary exercise for those learning the laws of indices. And thanks go out to Tim for giving me permission to use them on the Transum website. Now, the binomial theorem is now a separate exercise rather than part of the Pascal's triangle pages. I realise that this exercise will only be of use to a small number of you, depending on whether this topic is on your syllabus, but I thought I'd mention it here. Anyway, moving rapidly on, the indices eye test? What? Came about when I began delivering online video tutorials, and I wanted something that I could use if the main lesson on bit paper stopped working. So, students have to evaluate the expressions involving numbers raised to various powers, and they've been printed in the form of an optician's eye test chart. And it was something I could just hold up to the webcam, and it also is a bit of a fun diversion if you take it with a pinch of salt. Probability formulae is aimed, well, it is targeted really specifically for IB diploma students because they all have a formula book that they can use in the exams. And there are lots of probability formula in that book, and the challenge is to know which formula is to be used to answer what type of question. So this is a drag and drop exercise that's designed not to be used in isolation, but to generate discussion between the teacher and the student. So if you do teach the IB specifically, but it could also be useful for A-level, of course, have a look at that new activity there. Remember, all these links are in the newsletter.
You can find Transum Mathematics at www.transum.org.
So how are you getting on facilitating remote learning? I'm actually having some surprisingly good interactions with students via video links. So I'm using Google Hangouts for the video connection, and I'm using BitPaper that we can both write on. And since this time last month, I've added some more ideas to the at-home page or the school closure page that you've probably seen by now. But the ideas I've added include some games that you can play in the last 5 minutes of a lesson or of your tutorial to bring a smile to those quarantine students who are probably getting a bit bored with this home isolation by now. So have a game at the end of your session. One of my favourite, by the way, which is quite unusual, is called Smallest Number. And it's great for a class, just for the end of the class. The instructions are perhaps a bit too long to read out right here, but the link is in the newsletter. So have a look at Smallest Number. And if you've got sort of a one-to-one tutorial with a Key Stage 3 or Key Stage 4 student, maybe you could finish off that with the game called Nevertheless. Again, have a look at that. That's quite fun to play, but it revises a number of key facts, algebraic skills, and requires a little bit of a strategy there. Anyway, also, by the way, the Transom online exercises, just any exercise, have worked well for me. You send the link to the student, and then they share their screen so that you can see the progress they make as they're working through the questions, and you can chat back and forth. That works well for one-to-one or a whole class. You can see them all doing the exercises. And of course, most of the exercises are sort of randomly generated, so the questions will be similar but not exactly the same. So it's not as if the students could look at someone else and just copy their answers, because they will have sort of a unique version of that exercise. So those are the things that have worked well for me. I hope things are working well for you too. Now, in response to non-maths teacher friends, yes, I do have some friends who are not maths teachers, and who they've asked for ideas to amuse their own children at home, while maybe sneaking in a little bit of maths learning. So I came up with some game suggestions, and in the last couple of days I've tweeted links to Digital Darts, Snooker, 15, Remainder Race, Ultimate Noughts and Crosses, and 23 or Bust. So, fun games that you can play with your own children, and there's a little bit of maths that sneaks in there, but again, the links are in the newsletter. Okay, finally, the answer to this month's puzzle. So if 7 horses can be kept for 12 days, then there must be 84 horse days worth of food altogether. Now, during the first 3 days, 21 horse days worth of food will have been eaten. That's 7 horses times 3 days. And that then leaves 63 horse days worth of food. So there are 3 horses left. So 63 divided by 3 is 21. So the remaining feed will last those 3 horses 21 days. So Obadiah can last for 3 weeks before he has to go out shopping again. Good. So he can stay at home. Okay. Good mental health is important, and you, as an individual, can keep your mind off the current crisis by diving into the Transom Puzzles page, because that's bound to keep you occupied for an hour or two. Well, what am I talking about? Lots more hours than that. Please enjoy the puzzles. Get in touch with me if you've got any comments or suggestions. That's really appreciated. But anyway, for this podcast, that's all for now. Stay safe. Wash your hands. See you next time. Bye.
Thank you for downloading and listening to the Transom podcast. You can find the website at www.transom.org, where you're welcome to use all of the activities absolutely free, or jump in with both feet and become a Transom subscriber.